Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and Thomas Hearns. Legends, whose four-way rivalry defined one of the greatest eras in boxing history. Relive their decade of dominance in a new Showtime sports documentary, The Kings, a 4-part series now streaming on Showtime.
Meyer brand snacks promise the great value you expect with a quality guarantee in every bite. And summertime snacking is our most favorite snacking season of all because Meyer brand makes it deliciously easy. From new lemonade flavors to classic ingredients for backyard s'mores to creamy ice cream varieties like new limited edition Purple Cow by Meyer Very Berry Americana with ribbons of real strawberry and blueberry swirls waving in creamy vanilla ice cream. Stop into Meyer and discover big taste and bigger savings on Meyer brand summertime snacks.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they're kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
Hi, this is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm your host, James Boyd, and here with me I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Chilling, man. Just shot a music video this weekend. New song, or not a new song, but new video for Think About a Chick up on the YouTube channel. It's doing pretty well, and trying to figure out this gaming PC with your brother, and we trying to, I'm trying to get in this this streaming game because there's nothing else to do, James. Except, the evil, what you may call wrestling,
So I was gonna ask you, since you shot this music video, so what were you going for? Were you paying homage to MC Hammer and the Pumps and the Bump video? Or you out there in the Speedo?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I shot the video right in the living room.
Oh, okay. I have not seen it yet. I need to see it. You've sent it to me a few times. I have not gotten around to seeing it. I've been too busy trying to just drink and guzzle down all the puro. Dude, I've watched 4 different shows. 4 different Japanese wrestling shows in the last 24 hours.
How does it feel?
I've missed it. I've missed it. Because last weekend, I believe, was supposed to be Stardom's pay-per-view. Ended up getting postponed till the 12th or 2 weekends ago. So, they just had no weekend. They just had a weekend just free. So I was like, I don't even know what to do with myself. I'm used to getting 2 shows. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just save them for a couple weeks. So I ended up doing that, and then it was like, I guess I'll check out the Cyber Fight thing. Zach and you have been talking about it, and I'm like, all right, I get to it. And then I looked to go watch it today. I'm like, it's 6 hours? I'm not doing that.
I got it Zach's. I watched it with Zach and Jamie. So we pulled it up, and bro, we was just letting the matches play from the beginning, super undercard style, not even paying attention. And then we look up, okay, it's time to pay attention, and it's an hour into the show. So, but yeah, it was. We'll get to it later, but really enjoyed that show a lot.
Yeah, I like what I saw of it. So yeah, man, let's get into it, man. Dominion was this morning. We have a new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. It is not the Rainmaker. It is Shingo Takagi, the Dragon. What are your thoughts?
I guess I was categorically wrong last week when I said I may have said like Okada or was virtually a guarantee to win this match. He was not, but I am very happy for Shingo Takagi to get this belt, and it's amazing. We're gonna pretty much instantly be vindicated by saying he should have been the one to get the belt 12 months ago, and you know. I'll go ahead and preemptively take the victory lap on that. Yeah, he's been incredible all year. You know, I think he's the leading candidate possibly for your wrestler of the year, like your what I'm talking about.
In-ring.
But
or most outstanding wrestler for
yeah.
In our awards, it's the in-ring performer. Yeah.
He's just been incredible in all these big matches, and it really like shakes up what you thought may have been like this regimented pattern in New Japan's booking, where it's like, well, maybe Shingo has to wait another year to get it, or oh wow, they'll actually put Shingo on top. Who knew that they'd actually do it? So that, I know it's, you know, a small hope, but you know, that gives me hope for, you know, someone like an Ishii or something like that. Just to but Shingo like getting that belt, it's like, well, it's gonna be real funny. You know, you start looking at LIJ, it's like, man, so like someone that's not the unit leader is the world champion. How does that work? So that's going to be, I think, a bridge they may have to eventually cross. I think that would be kind of exciting. I'm really happy for Shingo because like another loss here would have been devastating, and we all thought it was coming, especially off of losing to Ospreay, losing a lot of big matches in a row. But he turned this one around, and it was almost like, I don't know why we didn't once think like, hey, Shingo can actually do it here. But I don't know if it's you know, like Okada brought up actually a lot of interesting talking points in the interview he did.
Yeah, I didn't check that out. Go ahead. Yeah, what did he say to you that stood out to you?
He was just basically burying New Japan for like the last year of what they were doing with the double belts. Shit was a bad idea. You know, he never really thought much about Shingo except that he was another wrestler from another company. Essentially, he brought up his matches with Kenny because he was like, well, you know, can a big match really, like, you know, can you do good business off the best bouts? And then he's like, well, you know, there was me and Kenny, like like we did that, but and there was just a level of like transparency in Okada, of course, within storyline that you don't really see because, you know, if you're not following the shit super close. But I made it a point to watch that. But he mentioned something about Shingo where it was like, you know, if it's Shingo's time, but what happens next after Shingo? And I hate to say, of course, I want to be in the moment with Shingo here. And I don't know if there was this arduous climb with Shingo rather than just like this respect everyone just carried for Shingo, which is going to carry him through. So his first challenger is going to be Ibushi. So I'm sure they'll have a great match. But going forward, I don't know if Shingo stops the bleeding that's in New Japan, but he definitely is a turn like he's applying pressure on the tourniquet, I believe. So like it's just once you beat Okada for that belt, I always look around like what else is around there for you. And in comparison to the Cyber Agent show, I was looking at the ages for some of those guys that are like ace level performers in New Japan. You're not seeing those guys at the same age. So I'm still just kind of big picturing all this stuff, and it's all probably just coming out in a smorgasbord of like vomit right now. But I think
I believe it's called a stream of consciousness. It's kind of what I do when we talk. We talk, and I'll just like go on forever because I'll just think about all the things that come to mind because I'm not like really giving a definitive answer. I'm just thinking of all these different things.
Right. But and I don't know if Shingo's going to have the pressure on him to do big business or anything like that. But I mean, we can start with the great matches. Let's start there. Like, so. What do you think about Shingo getting this belt?
So right, let's talk about it, man. The fucking algorithm has fucked me again. You know,
it got me this morning too. So
normally, if it's a Stardom show, I'll just either I'll stay my ass up, pay the money for pay-per-view, and just stay up and watch it. Right? Like that $50 is like just the best peace of mind to know that like I'm just gonna get my ass up because I spent $50, so I know I'm gonna get my ass up at like 2-3 in the morning and watch this shit, and I can go on and go back to sleep or whatever else. So, but before then, it used to be like, nope. Like Grand Prix final night, nope. Just I'm staying away from checking anything, not checking email, just like because I've been screwed over so many times. Like, so, but anyway. When it comes to New Japan, like I just didn't think about it, and you scroll once or twice, and you have your guard up, like, is this some bullshit I'm about to scroll and see? Does that look like this? Do I see NJ? Nope, look away. You go away from the app, you go back to the app refreshes, and the next thing you know, a tweet that you liked, because obviously is your Twitter account, you liked it, you have no idea that I'm going to see it, but the stupid fucking algorithm says, hey, you interact with this person, you like the things he likes, you talk to him about the thing in context, so let's put on the Summer Jam screen a like that you liked, that Rich liked. And I'm just like, man, I'm so sick and tired of this fucking algorithm. It takes so much joy from me. Like, I just can't. So, I went off on some rant talking about how much it fucking sucks and I hate Twitter, even though I'm on all the time. And then Jamie made the suggestion of, hey, have you considered moving to Japan?
Yeah.
So I was just joking around. I was like, I'll just go ahead and make a pros and cons list. And
let's go through that.
You want to go through it? Okay. Yeah, let's do that. Let me pull up real quick.
Japan's a far way away,
It's 13 to 14 hours away because, right now it's 13 hours because, they don't observe daylight saving times. They're smarter than us. So, yeah. So the first pro that I had on the list was weekly trips to Korakuen Hall shows. Right?
Can't argue with that.
Right.
You probably watch, you can watch Freedoms in there probably, James.
Oh my God.
If you wanted.
Can you imagine him? He had a
Big Japan.
Show. I haven't been to GCW, let alone fucking Combat Zone Wrestling. You think I go to Freedoms? Hell no. So, you got that. I said morning prime times, American sports in like pro wrestling. So like, if a show starts at 8:00 here, that means it starts over there at like 9 a.m., 10 a.m., depending on the time of the year. So
NBA Finals, 9 in the morning.
That'd be awesome. Or 10. That'd be awesome. So then I put in hashtag ahead because just to be funny. I'm ahead of y'all on the globe. So healthier food options, obviously better potential healthcare. And then I must learn a second language to live amongst the people, right? The cons. 6'4" in Japan.
Yeah, bro, you ain't getting no clothes, no shoes, no
good seats on the subway. No,
like a good seat, like a toilet.
Yeah.
Shit. Trying to think, like
It's bad. It's hard enough to be 6'4" in America.
Any type of public transportation.
Right. It's bad enough to be 6'4" in America, let alone in Japan. And then we start getting to the shit. So it's like a minority in a homogenous ethno state. And then I put in quotations, some of the kids over there that have black English teachers think that their teacher is made of chocolate. I've seen it.
I did not know this. I didn't know what you meant by that when I saw this message.
The TikTok another algorithm. TikTok sends you shit from when you like. So, for example, like for some reason,
it's not even when you like stuff on TikTok. It's when you watch it for too long.
Yeah. So, there's this guy in Japan that's an English teacher, and he talks about his encounters with the students, and he talks about all the microaggressions he has to deal with, where they ask him all these questions and stuff about like his skin, his hair. And then like the kids that are in his school but aren't his students, like they think he's made of chocolate and shit. And I'm just like, Oh my god! And he's like, "Are you made of chocolate?" No, I'm not made of chocolate. Chocolate cake? No. Chocolate cookie? No. Chocolate syrup? No. I will send you the link and I'll find it. But I saw
that's absolutely incredible.
This person has been on my thing, like in my For You page, like maybe I see him 2-3 times a week, telling these kind of stories. And it's like Black in Japan. I mean, you can go on YouTube and type in like Black in Japan or Black in Tokyo, and you'll see these stories. Like they do. I
imagine the chocolate stuff comes with a lot of Kong and Godzilla jokes as well.
I haven't heard it yet, but it's within the realm of possibility. It's quite, yeah. And blackface over there too. Anyway, so, and then the last thing, and this was really, this was the main thing, was, and then the last con was they are rarely thick over there. So, I'm going down the list a little bit further down, and we added more things as far as they aren't as far as along in vaccinations as we are, but they do mask up at almost all times, so that's a pro and a con right there. But I'll look into it further. But right now, as of now, I am considering staying put. So
because of the rarely being thick part is like the number one, or was that number 2 on the list? Like, where we got that at?
Okay, so if we being real for the cons list that I had listed, I'm number 1 on the list for why James Boyd will probably not be going over to the land of the rising sun. It was the one that I could not completely make sound not problematic, but I'll basically say this. Just off preference, I would prefer something with like a pretty significant curl pattern. So there's really a lot of like just no curl straight hair out there, and look, no, I'm not saying I don't like that. I'm just talking about what I prefer. Not that much out there. And then once you throw in the part where they ain't really thick out there, I think I'll stay over here. I think I'll stay on the Western Hemisphere and just see how my luck runs from here on out. Like, as far as food, I'm not concerned about the food. I'm not concerned about the food. But yeah, as far as Shingo, super happy. This is a dude that, came into New Japan in what, late 2018 or mid 2018?
Like late 2018.
And, by the time we got to that corresponding Wrestle Kingdom, and that was the first time seeing him, super impressed. And then he goes through Best of Super Juniors. He ends up beating, was it Kojima he beat the transition over to Never?
Yes.
Yeah. And then he's in the Grand Prix. The G1. Like before I used to call it the Grand Prix G1. I'm calling G1 Grand Prix. Now, and then he was in that, I almost did it again, in the G1, and he was awesome. And he's just been one of their most consistent performers ever since he's been in their buildings in their ring. And I'm super happy for him. The dude's just one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I'm watching that match, and I see they get to the 15-minute call, and I'm like, this typical Okada match. He has this shit at a certain level simmering for like the first 10-15 minutes. So I'm like, all right, I heard the 20-minute mark. They start picking up at like the 15-minute mark. 20-minute mark is when they really take off. And I'm just like, wow, he hasn't thrown the drop kick yet. He hasn't hit the drop kick yet. That's crazy. And then at the 30-minute mark, right at the 30-minute mark, he hits the drop kick first. I was like, holy shit. They've been out here doing Olympic level wrestling for like the last like 12 minutes. And now they get to the drop kick. And then they went to like to past 35-minute mark. And I'm like, they were just awesome. Like, Shingo's work on the back was awesome. And I'm super happy for him. Just get overall to it. Just like, he's one of those people that you hope that it happens for, but you're not sure that it's going to happen. You pretty much think it's never going to happen. And it does happen. And you're just grateful that it happened. And regardless of the circumstance or whatever else, they can straighten that out on the back end or whatever else. But, like you said, you ain't got to worry about putting him in the semi-main event or the main event with a championship belt and ripping it up. That's all he does. Oh, he does have great matches. And, you know, the fact that they end up going past 35 minutes with me is like, if at this point now with me, if you go past 30 minutes, you better have a damn good reason. And it's those two, and I think that's their best match. Like I thought that the best match of the G1 last year may have been their match, but I think this is better than that. Just incredible back and forth. Shingo's work on the back was just incredible. And just the fight towards the end down the stretch, and I mean, this is a crazy match. I think that like
how the crowd was clapping like with their forearms, like, and it was like, because you know the crowd just wants to go fucking nuts, and it was hard for me to judge this match, like going back to watching the clap crowds, like from watching like AEW, like as far as like what's getting over and stuff like that. But that was something very significant, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing for me was they actually, you know, because Okada has his clap cadence or whatever else, and they were actually in, you know, once he was in danger towards down the stretch, like they were living and dying with him, and then they were going back and forth with who was in control based off of, you know, the back work and with Okada's work, like trying to choke him out. And I mean, it plays very well into their G1 match where just like he made Shingo pass out. So it was just you know, two masters of the craft just going out there and whipping up something. For me, it's the best match I've seen this year so far. Like, I did not see Shingo versus Ospreay. Like, I know that's in as high a regard or maybe more. I just haven't seen it yet. I'll get around to it. But yeah, this is the best match I've seen so far this year. I loved it. Just like, those are the guys you want to see go 30, or those are the guys you are okay with going past 35 minutes. Like Jay White is a great wrestler. I don't want to see him go past 35 minutes. I don't. Those guys, yes.
Yeah, I really hope Shingo kind of keeps the belt through the Dome season, honestly, because honestly, I've started hearing people, they go back to Okada and Naito in the Dome, and I gotta say, that bores the fuck out of me at this point. Like, their fourth match in the Tokyo Dome, like, really? Like, we're squeezing this that much? And, you know, I'm probably gonna, you know, get a text or something like, that's their biggest drawing match and all this other stuff. I'm like, maybe that's the problem. Like, you know, like you're just going, everything's just circling back to this, where it's almost like this thing that feels old and stale. Like, that's why I think Shingo's a great fresh addition to the very tip top here, and quite frankly, I hope he holds that fucker.
Yeah, and I mean, the main thing when it comes down to it is like, how long is he going to be the champion? Is he going to hold it to Tokyo Dome? I don't know, and I probably doubt it, but it's time for them to get off their ass and get somebody elevated. And I don't mean we push Jay White as a top heel, we push Will Ospreay, and then we turn him heel. We want to push this stop and start shit that we've done with Sonata. We pick someone that has no business even being at in that fucking spot, like Evil. Like, you have your show, like you have your shows, your yos. You have someone like Great O'Khan who's new but is charismatic and is over with the people. Like, that group of like the five of like the people that had been around for 5 years around the mid card, they were hoping to inject up the main card slowly. You fuck that. It's over for Sonata and Evil. Move on. Like,
yeah, I don't ever want to see either of them,
especially Evil. Like, Evil's just like, I'm done with that. Like, it, but the main thing is like, you have a champion that's not invincible. He's not some killer. Like, he should be able to have compelling matches and mix it up with the guys and with some of the guys at the top of the card until it's time or whatever else. Like, I think Ibushi's going to get the belt back eventually, because it made no sense for him to lose it that quick anyway. And then, like, with the Ospreay thing, who knows what was supposed to happen with that. But, like, if he comes back or whatever else, like, that's kind of the mix. Like, it really relies on them to get creative and like make somebody that's, you know, has been around for 4 years already.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like a Jeff Cobb, but who knows? It depends on if Will comes back or not, probably.
Yeah, man. But that's all I got on that.
Yeah. So Jeff, I would suggest checking out Jeff Cobb versus Ibushi. Great match. They did a lot of crazy stuff around countering in and out and hitting each other with Kamigoyes. Just really good match. I already know who won based off of who came out at the end of the night, but I would say that I ended up giving it 4.5. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. So we also checked out Cyber Fight Festival. For those who don't know, that's Pro Wrestling Noah, that's DDT, and Tokyo Joshi Pro, all under the Cyber Fight banner, which is basically in Japan. There's 2 labels. Like there's Bushiroad and there's Cyber Fight.
Yeah,
right. There's Cyber Fight owns these 3 promotions, while New Japan owns 2 of them.
Well,
which is
Bushiroad owns Stardom in New Japan, yeah.
Yeah. So, they did a 3-promotion show, and it was awesome. Has great reviews on Cage Match. It's like a show of the year contender. It's like 9.10 on there. It was a very long show. It was built up. Like, there was some good stuff early, but there was some, stuff that was goofy, and, there was some undercard Joshi stuff that was cool, but pretty much I want to focus on the block between the 6-man tag and the Princess of Princess title match. I can talk about the 2 title matches as well, but James didn't see those. But so we had he didn't see this one either, but it was a 6-man match. It was Momo no Shishun tag, so that's Atsushi Katoge and Daisuke Harada. And Jaime O'Hara, they defeated Stinger. Nope, wrong one. See, okay, it was Damnation. It was Damnation versus the 37 Kamina. So Daisuke Sasaki, Soma Takao, and Tetsuya Endo, who's a personal favorite of mine, defeated Mao, Shun, Katsuhara, and Chris Brooks. That was a difficult one right there. When Endo was faced off with Mao, that's what you pretty much want to come to this match for. RLPW, Tetsuya Endo is like on that Finn Balor class of like, I've never even looked at a carb. Chris Brooks was awesome in the match, but really tight, fast work there. But let's get to this 12-man tag team match. It was essentially Noah versus DDT. It had a little bit of everything in it. It had lots of hard kicking. It had comedy. It had great wrestling. It was just it had 2 different philosophies.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure if you heard me talk about DDT and their ass to mouth wrestling, you kind of know what side I was rocking with. It was quite obvious. I keep in mind, like, I know if I know any of the 3 promotions, I know Tokyo Joshi Pro because of me trying to learn as much about Joshi over the last 2 years 2.5 years as I possibly could. So, like, I'm familiar with Miyu Yamashita and Yuka Sakazaki as AEW, and Maki Ito, another person that's in AEW, and a lot of the roster. Shoko Nakajima also did a couple matches in AEW as well. So for me, that's what I was mostly interested in. But like, there are a few people I've heard of, and the reputation, like Tetsuya Endo, what's his name? Konosuke Takeshita. Like, I've heard he's done AEW as well, but you see his Cage match, you hear people talk about him like he might be like the best young person in DDT ever. So I was interested. So when I see the list of certain people, I'm like, okay, so I know where this person is from, and I know some of the goofy things they do, but I've never seen much Noah. So Zach said to me, give me a list of stuff to check out. So he mentioned this match, and he said that I would like Kinu. or Keno. I don't know if it's Keno or Keno. So I'm watching the match, and Keno and the rest of the Noah guys, they all come down, all 6 of them, and they're all in red. They're red and black, and they all look like athletes, and they all, flex and pose. They look like they're getting ready for a football game. And I was like, okay, I respect it. And then out plays the DDT Gang's music. They come out, and they all look like backyarders. I've never heard of backyard Japanese wrestling, but they all look like backyarders. Half of them got t-shirts on. No shade if you do. If you can work, you can work. I don't care. But none of them look all that athletically like there's some, superb athletes. They come down to the ring, and they got gimmicks, and one has a bicycle. And it made me think
he's got a bicycle.
And it made me think of Hyper Masao from Tokyo Joshi Pro with her fake, or her, like, she's basically like has this gimmick where she's almost like Hurricane. She thinks she's a superhero out of comic book, and she has a almost like the Batmobile. I forgot what she calls it, but it's a bicycle that's trumped up with shit on, just like this in this match. Anyway, they got like wings, like they can fly. There's an iron fist with it oversized, looks like a Hulk fist that you buy for like a kid's toy, except it's the shape of metal. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Look at these goofballs. And pretty much the match starts, and it like Katsuhiko Nakajima just beats the shit out of this old guy, and the way he's beating this old guy makes me think of like the Yuji Nagata and
I think that was Sanshiro Takagi, who's the booker.
Okay.
I think.
Well, anyway, it reminded me of like the beating that Yuji Nagata took against Minoru Suzuki last year. Like the way he was selling is like he just getting slapped to death, and he's just like selling, not selling, just falling on in a like a sack of bricks at times from the beating he's taken. And they just whooping his ass, and then like it's almost, I don't even think there were tags in this match. I don't even remember, or if there were tags, half the time people got in with no tags. So I just consider a no tag match like it's Lucha Rules, and it's just crazy stuff going on. But the main thing is like the homie Keno does not fuck with any of this DDT shit at all, which is like he's no selling.
You see the look on his face.
Yes, and he's selling.
It was amazing,
and he's selling all of their bullshit. Like there's a spot where Buddy gets the wings on. The old dude gets the wings on. And gets on the top turnbuckle and goes to jump off with the fist. The homie Keno ducks that shit, beats the shit out of him, grabs the iron fist and throws that shit into the stands. And I was like, I want to stand and applause. Except I was in a room by myself. I was in my bedroom by myself, so I didn't do it. so that's how much I fucking loved it. They did a spot because they have the horizontal ramp that goes.
He had this look like you were disrespecting Masawa's ring.
Yeah.
Like you will not disrespect this sport. Like it just, the look on his face the whole time, just furious, dejected.
It was like, imagine if Walter had to wrestle these fucking clowns. Like Imperium Walter, I know Walter is with the goofy shit as well. But if you do the ring conf Imperium Walter gimmick, he comes out and he sees these clowns acting like this. It's the same face of like, what has become of this great sport? Where are the real men? like yes. So
Bret Hart would ask, "What the fuck is that?" Like,
yes. So there's a spot where the DDT gang gets an advantage, and they decide, well, let's crash the bicycle into him. So they get on the vertical ramp, go all the way up the ramp towards the entrance, and then ride towards Keno. Keno just he just moves. Like, I'll move, like the joke about Harley Race, I'll move. Like, what's your finish, kid? It's some type of splash top rope. All right, I'll move. Like, he just sidesteps out the way, beats up like 3 motherfuckers, beats up the bike, rips all like the goofy stuff that's all on the bike off, takes the bike all the way down, rides the bike, and then runs over the fucker that tried to run him over, and then all of the Noah gang gets in a circle, and Rich, have you ever seen the movie Office Space?
I know what you're talking about. I've never seen the movie,
okay.
But when you're talking about Office Space, there's only one thing you're going to talk about.
Yes. So Office Space is about these guys. I'm sure most of y'all have seen Office Space, but long story short, Office Space is about these guys that are sick of their office job, and one of them eventually comes up with an idea to steal fractions of pennies from his job and have them deposited into this multi-million-dollar company, and then over time it will make him money, and he's embezzling from his company. But he quits, and as he quits, because this is just a monotonous routine life. You know, monotonous of life gets old, like Cam used to say.
Yes.
They will always have issues with this one copying machine. They would always fuck up, and there would always be paper jams. The day this dude quits, all his friends quit too, and he says, "Hey, follow me to the quarry." What for? I got a present for y'all. He throws the fucking. He stole the copying machine, threw it in the quarry, and these three, in a circle of three, stomped the dog shit out this fucking machine.
They were punching the machine.
At one point, because the dude that hated it the most, like, starts beating it with a baseball bat. Beat that bitch with a bat, right? And then gets rid of the baseball bat because that is just in the way. That is less efficient than using my bare hands to beat up this fucking copy machine.
This big plastic thing.
They stomped the dog shit out this bicycle. It was just the best. I was like, man, yes, they hate all the same shit that I hate. Fuck that spot. Run that nigga over with the shit you try to kill him with. Kill him. And then they just beat up this bicycle and then throw it over the side, right? Match continues. There's a guy named Sakaguchi. That's on the Team DDT side. He's out of them six dudes from DDT.
The shit out
He's
of people.
the only one that I fucked with. He reminds me so much of Aleister Black without flipping, with the tattoos, with the black kick, with the black kick pass. He had no boots on, but just a killer striker. Takes a lot of punishment. Really crisp. I love this. I'm going to check him out in the future. The three people I'm going to check out that I've say to check out in the future would be Kinu, of course, Sakaguchi, and also Nakajima. Like, those three were the three standouts in the entire match. They were levels above everybody else. I'm not saying whether or not I know if anybody else is good or not, but they clearly stood out among the other 12. Among the other 9, actually.
There was, I don't know if he was one of the people they were basically exchanging, penalty kicks.
Yes.
I don't remember if that was him or not. Okay.
Yes, that was, so that was Nakajima and Sakaguchi that were exchanging them heavy kicks.
Perfect.
Those two were awesome together.
Yeah, but yeah, and then at the end, DC ends up getting a win because Yoshihiko pops up and chokes out Kino with the assistance of
Sakaguchi. Sakaguchi had Yoshihiko.
Okay.
For those that know, Yoshihiko is the blow-up doll that's in that Kota Ibushi match that everyone talks about, destroyed wrestling, even though we're still fucking here on them years ago. He is that blow-up doll is a running gimmick in DDT wrestling. It's a part of why I talk about the Ass Amount Wrestling. Now, not to say that I do not think the Yoshihiko stuff has not been good at times. It's just that, like, that if you're into that kind of stuff, good for you, fine. I can only take it in small doses. I cannot take the whole thing. Pause. So I didn't realize I was saying it. So for me, like, whatever, like, they choked out the homie, not Sakaguchi, the homie, I think it's Akito. Akito's like a small flyer. He looked good, but they didn't really showcase him. It wasn't about him, but he ended up getting caught and choked out, and at the same time, Yoshihiko, with the help from Sakaguchi, was choking out Kino, and Kino couldn't make the save, so he passed out before he could break up the submission. So Kino, he's furious. He wakes up, he's furious. He storms off. Like, I think he threw over a railing on the way out, and I was like, I love this man. Even, like, they protected him. He was a star of the whole fucking match. He's awesome in the match. He hated all the same bullshit that I hate in pro wrestling. It's just he has skyrocketed up the James Boyd rankings. He's really skyrocketed. Like, I'm going to do like a top 100 poll of my 100 favorite wrestlers at any given point in the year, and like if today we did this, like he might be in the top 35, and I've only seen him wrestle one time. That's how much I appreciate him not being down with the DDT bullshit.
That's funny. But yeah, up next we had a tag team match, and this was the match that I wanted to see the most going into the show. Konosuke Takeshita and Yuki Ueno versus Kaito Kiyomiya and Yoshiki Inamura from Noah. And my fucking God, this was great. I immediately want to see a Takeshita Kaito Kiyomiya singles match. Yeah, I don't know what has to happen to get it, but somebody needs to figure it out. I thought Yuki Ueno was awesome in this. This was just like it was supreme technical precision, big moves, athleticism, and you start looking at these guys. Kaito Kiyomiya is 24. He's apparently in some storyline where it's like, hey, Kiyomiya must suffer. Like, they're basically beating him all the way down, kind of like you would think they're doing with Hangman, but Hangman got a win last time. But they're beating him all the way down. And they're going to bring him all the way back up eventually. But Takeshita is a guy from came over to AEW, and I was sold on him when I saw him there. And he didn't even do he didn't
go crazy.
Okay, he didn't go crazy. He didn't do like a main event style match in AEW, but you could see all the ability that he had there, right? And then they're stapling him to Kenny, so you know he's like they want to do something or whatever. But here is just like I see why the critical acclaim is followed him, and at this early age, I watched his match. I may have mentioned on the show him and Tetsuya Endo for 2019. Incredible. Like, if you've never seen him, he's like the 6'2" Japanese guy. Looks even bigger.
And that's the thing. For some
strange reason.
Yeah, like I don't know if you saw me, but while I was watching the match, just looking at the 12 man, seeing how how much there was in room, and then seeing how big Takeshi looked in the ring, I was like, hey, how big is he? Because like, if this is a New Japan size ring, like Takeshi got to be like 6'6". Then you tell me he's 6'2", and I'm like, okay, this is a small ass ring. This is like some 14x14 type shit, like, or 16x16, because that ring he looked gigantic in that ring.
Yeah. There was just a part in this match where it was good, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's like, oh, the level has gone way the fuck up.
Oh, would you mean when like Kiyomiya was in the ring? Like, this match may well has been a 2-on-1 handicap match, and Kiyomiya was by himself. No shade to the Inamura dude. Like, he looks like he's pretty good, but he seems like a pretty from what I saw, he seemed like a power wrestler that wasn't really in his element for what all the stuff the other three were trying to get accomplished in that match. Not to say there was a styles clash. I get this match 4 3/4. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've only given like 6 matches or 7 matches of rating that high this year so far. So I thought this match was awesome, but it was at its best when Kiyomiya was in the ring, and it like the Takeshita and Ueno pairing felt like I was watching like, I don't know. It felt almost like I was watching like Okada and Robbie Eagles together, or maybe even Yo. But it was just, and that's the crazy thing, because like Kiyomiya looks a lot like, or as far as the hair and the paleness, like he reminded me of Yo, except he had way better gear. He had incredible gear. He obviously the size and what in his age or whatever else, but like. That dude looks can't miss for Noah. Now watch him fuck around. I never see him again, but like I was just really impressed by all 3 of those guys. Or actually, 4 of them were good, but like I was very impressed by the 3 guys we were talking the most about in that match, and I'm interested to see what all of them do.
Yeah, Kiyomiya is 24 years of age. He's been wrestling for 5 years. And he's a boss.
Hey, Rich.
Yeah.
Besides Matt Riddle, what 5-year like American wrestlers wrestling like that we've seen recently?
Oh, man.
I'm sure there's some of them there. There's not many.
I'm sure there's somebody, but they're probably in their formative stages and they haven't like got that far.
Yeah, like you're not being allowed to wrestle on a show this big with 4,000 people when a show of the year thing, and you're what, 4th from the top or something like in a 15-match card, or 3rd from the top. Yeah,
and I think they just kind of ended up here by circumstance because they weren't in the title matches, but these are top guys in their promotion.
Yeah, this was a top match. This was the number 1 match on the card that wasn't a title match.
Yep.
Or the highest slotted match.
So after that, we had the Princess of Princess title match, Miyu Yamashita against Yuka Sakazaki. I think Yuka Sakazaki wrestled this match like, you see this outfit, ain't nothing about me soft. Like, that's what I like. You can come out here, Miyu Yamashita. You look like you smile less than 20 times in your life. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna fight you back. Like, but yeah, this was a war. Like,
this was the best performances I ever seen from. Well, I've seen a lot more Miyu Yamashita than Yuka.
Like sloppiness.
But what I will say is this. This is the best match in Tokyo Joshi Pro history, depending on how you want to feel about it, whether it's technically a Tokyo Joshi Pro match. It was a title match for Tokyo Joshi Pro. It was a Tokyo Joshi Pro match. This is the best Tokyo Joshi Pro match I've ever seen. It's the best one of all the ones I've seen that have been ranked high on the thing. Like, the top is like 4.25. This is a full-on 4.5 star match that I'm sure a lot of people would think of giving 4.75. I wouldn't go that far to give it 4.5 flat, but like this is an easy 4.5, and like that match that Yuka had with Mizuki towards the end of last year, this match smokes it. And I was super happy because their January 4 match from last year, I was disappointed. Like, it was like a 4-star match, but I expected better of them, seeing what I've seen them do with other people like Meiko Satomura or Yuka, elsewhere. And to see, like, they finally got that vindication on their biggest stage and had their best match in the company's history, I was super happy for them. And what I saw to Yuka was like, she really brought out the aggression, and she was really
fire. Like it wasn't cute.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, with her style, like, because of how she looks, you think that she's soft. She's never been soft, but this is the most aggressive I've ever seen her in a match before. But, so it was really entertaining to see her just, like, going to murder Yuka mode, which I didn't know existed, but she beat the living shit out of Miyu, and Miyu was working underneath fight, and it's not something you really see out of Miyu, unless she's, like, wrestling like Meiko Satomura. Unless you wrestle someone that can kick her ass, it is also a well-known ass kicker. She normally wrestles from on top in a lot of her match. She's really good at it. This is the first time I've ever seen her do this for most of a match, and it like worked to this degree. Love the match. Creativity. You cross each other up a million times. You know that they've wrestled each other a million times before, right? And it was a battle for the aces, and Miyu came on top again. Yuka got her big win last year, and it's like, we'll see how this goes from year to year when they're fighting over the Princess belt from year to year.
Yeah, can't wait to see kind of like where they go and who else they get in the mix. As on the undercard, I saw a couple, other wrestlers from Tokyo Joshi Pro, and it was like, it's good. Anytime you have a great match, it's like, all right, what you do with these people, after that. So,
well, it was interesting. Well, it was interesting to see what was in the who was there, like cornering people, because like it was like those two are in the ring. They're the two top stars in the company, in the promotion, and then like the next 4 were all at ringside, like between Maki Ito and Shoko and I'm blanking on her name right now. Mizuki, and then I forgot the other girl's name, but like those are like the best. Like Mizuki's raw. She's not as good as Miyu and Yuka, but she's very good. Like she could be in the upper echelon of Stardom. Like she's that kind of good. But yeah, like I would love to see. Rika Tatsumi wasn't there. I don't think, but like outside of that, like pretty much all the big stars were there cornering for that match. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, and then the 2 title matches. Jun Akiyama defeats Harashima by referee's decision with the fucking guillotine. Kind of a classic style heavyweight championship match. So they didn't do like a whole lot of crazy moves or anything. It was just solid technical wrestling, I would say, throughout it. I'd probably say about 4 stars, I'd say. Uncle June does not lose in the month of June. I don't know who you was thinking you was about to try Hiroshima, but he remains on top. And Grandpa Muto actually broke out a moonsault. I thought he was done doing the moonsaults, and when he hit, you knew them knees wanted to explode. He dropped the title to Naomichi Marufuji, so instead of olds on top, it's just a little, not as old on top. So Marufuji like gets the belt back, and if there's somebody to put over Kaisaki and Miya in the future, maybe it's Marufuji. But this was as good, about as good as you could think, I would say, for
someone that wrestled in the 80s.
Yeah, Muto at this point, he's like 58. Like, bro, like for being 58, like, and you're giving us a match that has like a 7.28 rating. Like, I guess you can live with that. Like, it's not a disaster. Is it like your match of the year candidate or something? No, but like, Keiji Muto's gonna do that at this age.
Right.
Like, it's not bad.
Also, Rich, think about it like this, right? In the last 2 weeks, Muto and Sting
run it back. Open the door. Open the door.
I can't believe
make the call. Make the call, Tony.
I thought. Remember, remember he was one of those judges during the title match. But
Muto's part of AEW lore
already. Yeah, but what I was gonna say is, like, I can't believe that Muto and Sting are still out here doing this shit at a high level. What?
Did not have that on my board this year.
I did not. Just amazing.
But yeah, if you guys want to check out that show, it's on the DT Universe, whatever the hell they call their subscriptions. I have it.
I think it's DT
I would check
Universe.
the show out. Yeah, like I said, you can just let it play while you're, those of you that work at home, throw it on in the background, and then just look up from time to time, and then by the time you're in the middle of the show, you're going to be starting to see some good stuff. So,
I'm sorry, it's Wrestle Universe. That's what it's called. Sorry,
Wrestle Universe. Okay, yeah. But yeah, man, that'll take us into the news of last week. The WWE
that'll take us into the American portion of our programming.
The bullshit, right?
Yeah. So, I guess we got to start with the WWE releases from last Wednesday. So, from believe the six were Braun Strowman, Aleister Black. I'm blanking on her name. Santana Garrett. I had to list up a second. Lana,
Murphy, and Ruby Riott.
Right. Yeah, man. Like, has there been a release more shocking than Braun Strowman? And like, since we've watched that we didn't see coming, not someone that wanted out and then they got out. Like, it was unannounced. That it was unexpected. Like, is this the most shocking unannounced? Go ahead.
And it didn't have to do with no like problematic shit that we know of, and like, there was no reason for that man to just be dumped. Right. I would think so.
Yeah.
Like, from what I was hearing is like they think he's a big guy that's 2 years past his peak. They've got other giants on the roster now, like almost like Shanky, and I would advise them, like, it seems like this thing was, I think I heard Joe Lanza describe it as like, this is what happens like in football. Like they're trying to shave salary for like a cheaper, like they're trying to get relatively what they see as the same value for a lot cheaper. And it really gives like like the philosophy of them hoarding all the talent, it seems like it's changing now. Like they're releasing people like and not caring. So maybe it really is budget cuts, because we've long said that this is not a practice that is fair to the wrestlers, fair to the fans, or like, it's just something they do. And we've called them out for taking people off the board for years and years at this point. Yeah. And it seems like it's going the other way with this stuff now. And whether it's gearing up for a sale or Nick Khan just coming in there and being like, so you say you're not in the wrestling business, let's act like it. So like, and let's tighten up some of this payroll. Like, and Strowman's absolute shock, because you would think Braun Strowman is what that fucking building in Orlando was made for. A guy that walks in there, tried hard, sucked, got better, all through pure, want to. And, I've had my run-ins with Braun Strowman online, but like I said, I've never like really judged him or anything for it. But I think he was one of the best guys of the One Nation Radio era in WWE.
He's one of the most over, definitely. Hell yeah.
Like, there was absolutely a window. We've all through in this archive of One Nation Radio, we have documented how over this man was, how much they blew it with him, when they blew it. We can literally probably, if we had like some type of producer assistant, be like, pull up the Braun Strowman audio files and then put that shit out as its own podcast, and then it would just be fascinating to hear like the roller coaster, that's has to do with his career. And he was just in a title match last month,
and smoked it. With him and Drew McIntyre last year had a great title match. That was mostly built around Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre throwing each other around.
Yeah, man.
He was in a WrestleMania match with Shane McMahon at last WrestleMania just months ago, 2 months ago.
He was the victim of he was the victim of them only wanting Roman Reigns to be over as the top hero in the promotion. They saw that shit getting over and knew they had to cut it off. Just absolutely comedic booking from No Mercy 2017 to WrestleMania 34, where he loses to Brock Lesnar. He gets put in the triple threat so Kane can take the pin and essentially banned from the Royal Rumble. They add an extra man in the Elimination Chamber, have Braun Strowman defeat every single person in there just so he can bow down before Roman Reigns, like the West Side Connection, and then he's teaming with a child. Like, I can't think of, like, you always hear Vince like saying what WCW did with Big Show, right? This is worse, like absolutely worse.
Remember what happened from Survivor Series 2018 into WrestleMania 35? You remember what happened?
I'm sure you can take me through. Oh, also, I'm not done with the Strowman shit. So, like, then, like, he gets the whole thing of being Roman Reigns' condom, like, with the Money in the Bank briefcase, like, because it extends even more, because, like, Brock and Roman, like, just keeps going, and it's like they use him to, like, shield that whole title change, literally, and just, like, the one guy that you could always point to, I think, if you're a Roman Reigns fan, and be like, hey, that's a guy that Roman Reigns helped get over. He's not even there anymore. Right. And I'm sure most of them are happy about it, which is fucking crazy.
Like, do you ever hear like Ric Flair fans talk about like how much they hate Sting? No, because he made Sting. He made Lex Luger. Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, that's not how it works. You want those dudes to succeed, to show, to like, look at the greatness, look at what this dude has breathed life into. The number one person on Roman Reigns' thing for this is Braun Strowman. You can make an argument that, like, there's not a strong case for anybody else. Do you want to say Buddy Murphy, who he had one match with, and then like he didn't do, and then he became a disciple, and then he wanted to date a 19-year-old, and he's 30-something? No, fuck off. So, like, I'm not trying to make this thing about Roman, but it's like, this was so stupid.
It's shocking.
If you like,
it's literally the demonstration of their bad performance center. their bad booking and their bad star making. It's literally all three levels of it.
Oh my God. Okay, so they think that they can make another Braun Strowman while forgetting
that has to be it.
While forgetting what they invested into Braun Strowman to get him off the ground. They put him in an overact like the Wyatt family. He stunk that bitch up for months and months and months. It was, at one point, we were like, is he one of the 5 worst wrestlers in the history of major American wrestling? And we were like, no, but top 10 probably. He was that bad. He was awful. He was a giant that was told, he was a giant monster told to never leave your feet, and was constantly falling all over himself all the time. To go from that to those Roman Reigns matches to some of the stuff he did with Kevin Owens to some of the stuff he did with Drew McIntyre of late, like, he's absolutely one of the big success stories of the PC out, like, that's not a woman. Is anyone else?
Until he wasn't. Like,
but the thing is, even though they screwed him up, like, you can go and look through Brandon Thurston's and WrestleNomics stuff as far as, like, Google search data. He's still one of the 10 most over acts in the company. So for you to say that, so for them to overlast like a couple years, so for them to come to the conclusion that, like, we can make another Braun Strowman is like, obviously fucking not.
Yeah. Like, I don't know how Vince, like, gives the green light. Like, yeah, we can get rid of him after looking at the kind of shape that man's in now, compared to when he first showed up. And, like, I don't get it. Like, I'm lost. I wouldn't consider myself like this huge Braun Strowman fan or anything, but, like, you can just take a look at the fucking take a look at the take a look at the future potential. I know, look, his knees ain't that damn bad. Like, I don't.
I mean, we talk about this all the time.
I don't get it.
We can dislike somebody, and we talk about it often with people like Cody and Bray Wyatt. If the crowd's going nuts, our opinions on this person, as far as their quality of the what they do on TV, starts mattering to us less and less. There's been times we were like, we go back to, was that would that be SummerSlam when he debuted again, when Bray debuted with the murder clown thing against Finn Balor? Was that 2019 SummerSlam? When that went out, we were like, hey, they got him something, right? That's that what we said. They got themselves something. When Braun Strowman blew up, they got themselves something. Like, every single, like, we are not beholden to our opinion as far as saying, like, we don't like this person or we don't like what they do with their time on our television, and regardless of whether or not they're over or not. If they're over, our opinions matter less and less. And he got over. So, like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. It makes no sense to me. I mean, I don't know what his prospects are for wrestling outside of WWE. I don't know. I don't even know if he want to do anything outside of WWE.
You know, he stuck his foot in his mouth with his
comments about
indie wrestlers, and that's not going to go over well. I'm imagining a lot of circles. I could easily see him laying low for a couple months and them trying to bring him back in at a lower number. I think if you're Tony Khan, you have to make the call and see about it and be like, hey, can you take the F10? Like, that's what you do. But yeah, man. Like, one of the premier big men of this time just dumped aside like common trash. I'll never understand this.
Yeah. So I guess we move on to Aleister Black now. Aleister Black.
My God.
Aleister Black, former NXT champion. I saw someone make a tweet saying about how many people, there have been more people that were former NXT champions that were cut than actually became WWE or top champion on either brand. And then someone's response was, well, yes. Clearly that's NXT's problem.
Breaking up is hard to do, but when it comes to your wireless carrier, you should have left a while ago. You're over the big three carriers. You deserve better. Xfinity Mobile. Now you can get unlimited with 5G included for just $30 a month on the nation's fastest, most reliable network. So break free from the big three and save with Xfinity Mobile.
Take the savings challenge at xfinitymobile.com/mysavings to see how much you can save when you get Xfinity Mobile and internet together. Reduced speeds at 20 gigabytes per line. Most reliable based on Root Metrics US report. Results vary, not an endorsement.
Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and Thomas Hearns. Legends, whose four-way rivalry defined one of the greatest eras in boxing history. Relive their decade of dominance in a new Showtime sports documentary, The Kings, a 4-part series now streaming on Showtime.
And I'm like, you fucking idiot. Okay. So NXT figured out that Seth Rollins should be the first NXT champion. And then he becomes a WWE Hall of Famer. Then Big E becomes the second NXT champion. And then becomes a WWE Hall of Famer, future WWE Hall of Famer. Probably one of the, at worst, the second greatest faction, homegrown WWE faction ever. Anyway.
Yeah.
Then they do Bo Dallas the joke to transition to TV with Neville. They have Neville. Neville becomes a cruiserweight champion. He's 5'7" or something shit like that. I mean, regardless of how good of a worker he is, regardless of the talker he became, it wasn't going to work out there because it's Vince McMahon's wrestling circus. And you must be this tall to play. Then you get Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn has all the characteristics and traits of somebody that should make it at a certain level in WWE. And eventually he got there after he bitched and moaned and whined and Vince got tired of holding that dude under his thumb. He finally got there this year, 6 fucking years later. And there's injuries involved with that, but you already know what it is. Kevin Owens a first ballot WWE Hall of Famer. Even though they've done goofy, they've nerfed him to death, right? Go from there. Nakamura is going to be one of those, college basketball, basketball, international picks. You look at his main roster resume, not nearly as good as you wanted to be, considering what he was doing in NXT. Bobby Roode, they screwed that up. Samoa Joe, just too old, didn't work out, but incredible promo for his time in the company. You go to Drew McIntyre, or Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode's in a solid tag team right now. A solid guy to have on the roster. It didn't work out to that extent. It was a weird period in NXT at the time. Drew McIntyre is a first ballot WWE Hall of Famer now after 2 years on the main roster or whatever. Once they finally gave him a push, it's a wrap. He is one of the 2 people on the main roster that should get any MVP consideration from a overall wrestling award standpoint. Him or Roman Reigns. That's been the case for the last 2 years now. So then you transition around and you go to Andrade. Andrade's gone now. Andrade had all that great work wrestling with the top guys in SmackDown, and they never decided to do anything with him. Unfortunate, because if you don't talk English perfectly, they won't fuck with you if you're Mexican. And then if you do speak perfectly, she'll still find a way to fuck it up like how they're doing with Garza. So, then we end up getting to Aleister Black. Aleister Black was one of the best babyface champions in NXT history. Had great matches from anywhere from Gargano to Adam Cole to Andrade to Velveteen Dream, the Green Velveteen Dream. That dude is one of the best wrestling in-ring talents in the world. Striker, grappler, flyer, submission specialist. He can do it all. They never found a place for him. His best spot he ever had was when he first came in with Ricochet as the tag team. And then they kept him undefeated. They didn't win at WrestleMania. They shipped them off to different spots. And then they fucked up both of them in different ways.
Boy.
Sad shit. They're part of the most talented NXT has ever been. And look what they're doing now. One is tweeting through the pain right now while he's on main event. And then the other one is now.
Thea Trinidad got to change her Twitch password, bro. Just every day, Aleister Black, just an hour at a time, just talking about how much, all his ideas that he had that they loved that they could just never find a spot for, but they loved him, but they fired your ass.
Okay, so I'm not gonna. This is the thing for me. I don't know how much you peeped of Aleister Black's personality or his viewpoint or outlook on life. He's a very positive dude. Not saying that he's positive enough to believe all the stuff he's saying, but I don't think he's a person that harps on negativity much. So, like, the fact that he's not, like, just lambasting WWE or some bitter person or using it for, to get himself hype, like going to the future of his career, I'm not surprised he's not doing that. So I'm not, so like, that's kind of in his temperament to not really get hung up on all that kind of stuff. And as far as the, saying nice things about the company, he worked there for years. Like, I mean, I think that a lot of people have this thing to where they think that, like, people's creativity is stifled and then, like, they turn into Jon Moxley. I think people get creatively stifled and then keep coming up with ideas, and if they keep coming up, they keep basically, like, turning cheek because they don't hold it personally. And I think he's one of the people that, like, left this, it didn't work out, and he's like, you know what, they listened to my ideas, none of it went through, but, whatever, I made more money doing this than I did doing wrestling before. I met my wife here, I believe. So I think he's taking it away like that. There's a lot of stuff you heard Jon Moxley at first before he proceeded to bury them for the next 2 years. But, if he doesn't want to do that, I don't think that's really in his nature to do that. So, like, I don't really hold it against him. I know people want, like, the super talented guys that get, the thumb, they get fucked over to be like, yeah, I got fucked over. It was unjustified, and I'm going to, tell you about my plight. I guess people just were left disappointed that didn't happen. And
the fact that he hopped on, like, so fast to do that, I'm like, bro, like, you're killing your mystique. Like, you're killing, like, there was two ways to do this. And I'll use another guy that was released as an example. Fucking Buddy Murphy sends out a tweet with a fucking email address and a countdown clock. Like, and then don't you want to see his next move? Like, like, I don't know, man. I think Aleister Black, some of the stuff that he was pitching was absolutely batshit insane. If personally,
I didn't listen to much of it. I just only heard the tenor of the conversation where people were like either saying, like, there was one side it seemed that was like, why is this dude not bash these people for leaving them, for basically keeping them creatively on the shelf for a couple years? And then the other side is like, why are you miserable, anti-WWE fans not upset at this person that y'all claim y'all like because he's not bashing the company? So for me, it's just like, I don't care. I don't care if you bash it or not. Like, he's not there no more. Like, if he wants to bash, that's his prerogative. If he doesn't want to bash, that's also his prerogative.
Look, he could have, like,
right,
if they like you so much, could you explain the part where they left you in the closet for 7 months? Right. Like, what, do you have anything on that? Like,
I think the real thing also is, like, I think he might still be processing, but it's like, they were about to put me in this thing with Big E, and then, like, right before it happens, like, they take me, like, they fire me. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, they kind of were listening to his ideas. They're about to put us in a Big E feud. It ain't happening though now, Aleister.
Bro, like Jim Ross literally laughs at people that say Vince loved me. Right. It was just creative that, right. It could, like, Jim Ross makes fun of wrestlers for saying right. this. Like, because they have these people brainwashed right. in there still. Well, it's amazing that this is working.
Because they have treated talent they have done this weird trick with wrestling and pro wrestling, where, like, them hiring you is like them doing charity for you, like, as opposed to, like, your talent, you generate a certain amount of money for them, and then they off of what you help bring in for them, they give you a certain percentage or whatever else. They don't see it as people.
They are the business now.
They do not see this as they are a part. They see it as, like, they are, like, they don't see it as, like, they are a 4 or 5 star recruit. They see it as, like, they are some 2-star recruit or whatever else they're so lucky that Florida State or Florida sends them mail. It's like, nah, man. Like, look around. Like you were getting pretty much any booking you wanted if you wanted to. Tommy End. I don't understand why this is. I'm not saying just specifically him, but I'm saying a lot of these people that are like the best of the indie scene. Like they brought you in to try to stop whatever was going on the outside. No, that's not an opinion. That's not an opinion. So like act like
it's been said before. Like some of the biggest marks are the wrestlers themselves, and look, Kevin Nash wouldn't have been doing no shit like this. Like what would Kevin Nash do? You think Bret Hart would have been doing this? Hell no. But you gotta remember, Bret Hart grew up in a whole different. Remember his dad was a booker. Grew up in a whole different generation where like the stars actually knew they were stars. Now nobody believes they're actually stars, except for people that actually become stars that Vince likes. Like it makes. Yeah, I think you bring up a good point there. It makes me feel like, I like wrestlers that feel like they believe in themselves, like, and all that stuff. Like Tommy End saying now, it's just like, damn, you don't like. I don't know if you believe in yourself, like. So it's just I'm trying to figure it out. Like, are you trying to make yourself more attractive to somebody else by saying like? Or even WWE again, like, because like I'll tell you something, man. They was bending over backwards to bring Alberto Del Rio back. They brought Jeff Jarrett back. Like, it doesn't matter how you treat them on the way out. Like, it literally doesn't matter.
Well, I mean,
like Vince makes a career of bringing motherfuckers back, so it's like,
well, Vince is like what 75, 76 now, like. Eventually, that shit
gonna might not be Vince.
Exactly. Eventually, it might not be Vince, and some tells me Triple H will not be as reticent to bring people back as Vince was, just to say that, haha, I got you in my pocket now, pal. You dumbass. You think that you served this dude by you cutting checks to him? You dumb motherfucker. Like, think how stupid that sounds. Yeah. I remember you talking shit about me, and now you work for me. Yeah. Good job, Vince. Good job.
Yeah,
you now subsidize my hate for you. That's a real mindfuck for me. Yes, I get to steal from you legally. Thank you.
Yeah. Whatever you do, Aleister Black, stop doing Twitch streams, please.
Right, so Buddy Murphy. Okay, so I don't have much on Buddy Murphy. Obviously a super worker. He seems like a person that's going to be an Impact or something like that. New Japan is a possibility because obviously that's what the move set's from.
Yeah, he could come do Undertaker versus Undertaker. Shots on my boy Aaron Ratowski. He can do Kenny Omega versus Kenny Omega. On in AEW. You bring in Buddy, and then you bill him as Kenny Omega. And you just do a mirror match.
Wow. I mean, where do you have any best guesses on or stops or where would you like to see him instead of doing this regular speculation? Where would you like to see him?
I would like to see him in Impact. I think Impact's doing a lot of great things. The one thing they do need is like superstar workers, and I don't know if he's a superstar, but he's definitely a worker, and that I think can become a superstar in that environment.
Did Wesley Blake just go to Impact?
Steve Cutler did.
Oh, Cutler. Okay. The other.
So he can go there. He can go to New Japan. Obviously, he can go to AEW because like AEW is not slowing down on signing people. I don't know.
And
I don't know why.
He's one of the more talented wrestlers. Obviously.
Like, and I don't know why people think AEW's run out of money or something, but they do this it was like y'all putting beans on toast talking about AEW broke. Like, no,
do people not realize how far do people not realize how far the Kevin Durant contract stretches?
Bro, and there's more now.
I know.
Since they got the second show.
Right. My point is, like, just off Dynamite, they have the Kevin Durant contract. Like, what makes you think they can't pay? Like, if they're making $40 million a year, what makes you think they can't bankroll like this many people? And obviously, a lot of these people, like, aren't all signed. Some of these people are just making just dates.
Right.
So, yeah.
Then there's Lana.
We all
Lana.
think it's AEW waiting.
Look. first time I ever got like 1 million views on a column was about Lana. Quite friendly because motherfuckers, was thirsty.
Yeah.
But I had the info ready.
Yeah.
I don't want to see her in AEW.
You mean as a wrestler or as a valet or manager?
Really, either. It feels like hustling backwards, putting her with Miro at this point.
Think so?
Them actually being programmed together was a long ass time ago when you think about it. That was like 2014, 2015. It just feels like Miro's like doing different things. Like he can talk for himself now. He's already has a belt. Like it's not like he needs something to get him over. Like he's already over. So I don't want to see it. I'm sure he's going to push for it. I'm not looking forward to it.
Well, somebody that we talk to quite often, Floyd quite often says that like, what's better for a wrestler than having a hot woman with him? So, Jim Ross is there. I'm sure he feels the same way. I'm sure they'll push that through. I'm sure it's already been in talks to happen. Ruby Riott got options. She can go to NWA. She can go to Impact. She can go to AEW. You don't really get like that kind of age, that kind of experience, that kind of roads traveled in like that package.
Absolutely beloved.
Talent. Yep, that too.
Absolutely beloved in wrestling. Like names as big as The Rock reaching out to her and saying, "Hey, keep your head up," like shit like that. So, you can kind of tell. You can kind of tell, like Mia Yim, Shayna, Ruby, Dakota Kai, like that PC group. Beloved. You never hear any bad things about any behind the scenes about any of them four in that particular group. As far as like that little time frame, Candice would be involved in that. It would be involved in that too. Like it is something about that particular clique and the way they kicked it from Shimmer to Shine to Stardom and back. That like they just have a lot of respect. And you look at what they did with Ruby when they brought her in there and put her with Sarah Rowe, who obviously already had any run, with Liv, a piece here, and what they thought for Liv at times and how she's improved over the years, to respectability, like when she had no business being on TV at the time, and like obviously that comes with being with Ruby, and like I don't think Ruby ever fully got her due, but we kind of knew that was going to happen when she got to the main roster. So we'll see what they do with her. I think, obviously, like, we'll see what they do with, or what she wants to do, or whatever else, but, like, I would like to see her somewhere. I would like to see her in AEW. I would like to see her in Impact. I would like to see her in NWA, especially if they're doing what they're doing with the NWA belt and they're keeping it to themselves. But yeah, like, she's going to get, if she wants to keep wrestling, she will get hired. Yeah. And then Santana Garrett. I mean, it just ain't work.
It didn't work out. They didn't even try. I think a lot of it was we don't want her being signed somewhere, and took her off the market and never used her. And she'll get dates on the indies like she used Shimmer, Shine, maybe NWA. I can see. Maybe Impact, I can see. I don't necessarily know about AEW. I think AEW has enough women. I think they have enough women that are promising with less experience. So I don't know if you want to even bring that in or bring her in. But she's well traveled. She's professional.
Yeah,
she'll get work, obviously.
Speaking of AEW, so newest signing in AEW, Andrade El Idolo. So quick wrap up for the AEW episode. I think it was possibly one of the worst Dynamites they've ever done. I don't think they tried. The first hour start quality from the second, they pretty much told Dustin, hey, save the show in the main event. And they tried, but I think the show was too far gone. The Brit segment was terrible with the burgers and the coupons. I think they're going to go to Nyla and Brit now, to spin off. No Hangman sighting. Bucks had to, do some cheating in the opener to win. Lots of interference all over the show. I think it's like starting to, become more noticeable. I would probably try to put a kibosh on that, get some clean finishes in there, because when you're needing to do like distractions and Red Velvet versus the Bunny, like, why are you protecting feelings this hard? You didn't have a problem with beating people before. Has there been a change in philosophy? Please let me know. But they brought out Mark Henry, of course. He said something that I'm kind of not happy with. Like, they seem to hint at him possibly wrestling at some point. And yes, that he was talking about he got a lot left in the tank, and they talking about he dropped weight and all this other stuff. And I'm like, can he do a 6-man tag with somebody? Fine. Can it be some goofy undercard match? Fine. To be fair, they've done nothing but positive things with like older guys like that in the time that they've existed. But however, when you first hear the idea, it's just like, I didn't sign up for this. Then he, Mark Henry was cut off kind of by Vicky Guerrero. She came out, then introduced Andrade. Andrade came out, spoke English pretty much, as good as he could. And it was like, hey, what happened to, that thing they said that his English wasn't good enough for promos? Oh, that was bullshit? Oh, okay. Maybe his English wasn't good enough for memorizing paragraphs of dialogue, but he seems like he speaks the language okay to me. He said he's going to be the face of AEW. Apparently, he has negotiated for some type of creative control in his contract, like what they've termed limited creative control. I don't know exactly what that means, but I don't know about starting to give that out, because once you give that out to one person, then anybody else that is trying to do contracts, you may run into that whole thing. But Andrade has
worried about being WCW, where it's like, all right, getting lawyers on the phone. I had to put him over, bump me up, bump up my pay.
Right.
Look,
right. Or like, and I think Andrade like pretty much was like, hey, I could just go to Mexico,
right,
and say fuck y'all,
right.
And at that point, you gotta like do like, for the level of wrestler he is, I've always wanted to see Andrade end up in AEW. I think it's worth it. And then, you sell him on the environment, you book him well. And, on the day it comes for, to him to face somebody big, or have a plan, have it not just like, hey, like don't do a bullshit ending, but say, hey, how can this be beneficial? Figure it out. There's lots of professionals in the room. And just don't create a line of bullshit that could happen.
Here's my thing, right? He became a superstar that drew in Mexico,
but not in America.
He was the NXT champion. Like, he wrestled for multiple years on the main roster at WWE. I don't think he's a stickler for creative control if he became a star wrestling in Mexico with all the goofy, crazy, nonsensical finishes they have in their wrestling and fuck finishes all the time. Like, I don't think it's as big a deal as I don't think you. I think you're saying there's a potential for this. I'm not really that concerned for the potential to draw that all of a sudden become some huge thing with him, because like where he came from was like, you fuck finish, okay. He just shrugs and walks out. I don't care. Like, I just want to wrestle and have great matches. Like, so
yeah. And there's
so
gonna be unhappy. There's gonna be lots of great matches for him to have.
Yes.
Like Chad texted me with an idea, like, hey, how about Jungle Boy tries to come of age in a rivalry with El Idolo?
He can get the original Judas Effect then.
Yeah, how about Jericho, Sammy, MJF, Kenny, Hangman, and Andrade? Like that's a perfect like upper mid card match right there. Like if it's good God, like I love that match a lot. Pac and Andrade, like mixing Death Triangle and the Elite with Andrade in any type of combination. You already know what it is. Christian and Andrade. Andrade is he brings something different since he was in NXT and in WWE for all, while the rest of these guys were kind of exploding. He's another I talked about the tree branches last week. Like he's another branch that I think people can go on because he's a fresh matchup for anybody. He can even fight Cody.
I think it'd be a good match. I think they'd have a good match. Like, you look at the match he had with Pentagon earlier in the year, like I think that him and Andrade have a good match with anyone. But you get my point. Like I think that like Cody would be able to do the because obviously when he did the AAA thing a couple was that last year or 2 years ago? Like I think he enjoys Lucha Libre. I think he enjoys like that element. I think he will. I think it'll be a challenge for him that would get him invigorated, and then like with Andrade, like he'd come up with something really cool. And I think Cody's at his best behavior in wrestling matches with people that he knows can go. Like someone like a Darby, someone like a Jungle Boy, like some of the people that were younger that he wrestled in the TNT Open Challenges or whatever else. I think that's how you get Cody on his best behavior as opposed to some of the nonsense he does. I put
him in there with somebody better. That's funny.
I didn't mean it like that. I meant people that like he just realized like I don't have to do all this to get a match to a certain level. Like I think Cody, for all of the bluster and all of the bravado, I think that he realizes that like he's only so good, and then like that's why he throws all the and he's also his dad's son, so he like those crutches, like he goes back to those them bag of tricks or whatever else, as opposed to like nah man, just go out there with Darby and just wrestle really really hard. And the match will get to that certain level. With Andrade, set it and forget it.
Yeah, him and Moxley would be a pretty interesting match.
That'd be so fun. That'd be so fun.
Like, obviously, we got the Triple Mania match coming with Andrade and Kenny. That's going to be something else. Then I'm trying to think who else do they have that might be interesting. Orange Cassidy could be.
That'd be fun.
I don't know if Pentagon and Andrade have ever crossed paths before.
I think I looked it up, and I'm not too sure because obviously two different sides of the other the Mexican two labels, so there wasn't too much interaction between CMLL and AAA.
We get Ray Phoenix, and Andrade.
Well, I mean that's the first match you think of, or at least that's the first match I thought of.
Sting and Andrade.
Yeah. Hey, bring Rick in. Oh, Rick can't come in. He's on the contract. But you get my point. It's like,
oh my god,
son-in-law versus Sting. Yeah, Rick's son-in-law versus Sting.
Oh my god. But Sammy Guevara and Andrade is pretty much what I want to see at some point.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But. Yeah, like I said, the show was nothing to write home about. I think the finishes were like problematic in a way. Like it's like figure this shit out. That Friday night taping schedule is killing them. I think they're doing dark and killing the crowd before they do it. They're doing so many. Are
those shows live or are they taped?
Before that? So. The shows that have been on Friday so far have been live. Whew. So the crowd was dead by the 11 o'clock hour because they've been sitting out there because forever.
They put out the dark. They obviously means they put out the dark and dark elevation matches on first, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's rough. Yeah.
Look, and what's happening is dark and elevation are getting the environments. And then you're getting that first hour, and then they're falling off a cliff, in that second hour.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so like I can't wait till the playoffs are over so AEW can get back to their regular time slot. They did 462,000 viewers in that 10 to 12 on a Friday with a .19 in the demo. So I think they're learning a lot. I think if I was Tony Khan, I would try to like, I don't even know if obviously if you can renegotiate that 10 to 11, because I think one thing about the ratings that I don't think people are taking into account is there will be no 11 to 12 hour, and no matter what you put in that 12 hour, like, you know, you can put, you know, the return of fucking Nick Bockwinkel, like some shit like, I don't, Stone Cold Steve Austin is out there at 11:45. Ain't nobody tuning in for that shit, bro. Like, if it's Friday night, 11:45, like, people at the club, like, this is a company that draws the youth. So like they're out, you know. But I think the Bull Rope match was okay. Komoroto's still got a lot of factory wrestler in him. I think he's a good prospect. He did some no selling. He did bleed. Dustin was the one not to bleed, which was fucking shocking. In the Bull Rope match. But yeah. But besides that, like I said, Christian Cage and Jungle Boy was a little fun tag team. Agogo knocked out Cody and QT pinned Cody, which was kind of fucking hilarious.
I'm sorry, what? For those that are listening, I have not watched Dynamite yet. I will get to it eventually. I'm behind on a lot. Doing a lot of catching up to do over the next week, so we can do a midweek show where we preview NXT Takeover and also Stardom's pay-per-view, both on Sunday. So I'll get up to speed quickly.
Yep. And then, you know, the Bucks, like, forcing Brandon Cutler to cheat for him against his will in the opener.
How did that work?
So they wrapped it up on BTE. So, like, he was like, man, Brandon Cutler don't want to cheat because he's really a good guy, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, you know, they start holding them contracts over his head, like, oh yeah, you you just bought a house, right? And he was like, yeah, man, you know, 2,500 square feet, you know. And they're like, how long does that mortgage last for? He's like, 30 years, man. He was like, 30 years, huh? And they're like, oh yeah, you know, so you're gonna need to pay that mortgage for 30 years, right? And then he's like, well, yeah. He's like, well, in that contract, you know, you're gonna need like your job to continue providing for your family, right? And then he cheats against like this happened after on BTE, but like it plays into the finish of the match.
So I'm guessing
Death Triangle.
You'll get what I say when I say it. So I'm guessing like Cutler never signed an ironclad contract, huh?
He signed the one they gave him. The one they gave him. And it's not even the case of he signed the ironclad contract. Is that the contract is quote unquote expiring soon? Is the contract going to be picked back up?
Okay.
So, yeah, deep lore. But yeah, man. You know, that's pretty much all I got on the wrestling. The Lakers went their ass home this past week.
Sure did.
I don't know what to say. It's just, you know, niggas broke up after this long season. I thought this would be one of the best Lakers teams ever. I was wrong.
Like, but even before they got hurt, like when they had the best record in the league or the second best record in the league or whatever, like they were winning in spite of the fact that like their shooting never came around. And then they got hurt. And the only thing that was consistent about them was their defense is great. Their offense is a mess because LeBron or AD aren't playing the minutes they should be playing, or they're missing half the season like AD did, or LeBron missed like 2 months or whatever it was. And like, but their shooters never came around in the way that they did last year in the playoffs, or even during the regular season when they, you know, went on that run before the pandemic hit. But they gotta invest in shooting. They got to invest in shooting. If they do that, then they can figure out the rest. Like, they probably never should have let Dwight Howard go, but, you know, Dwight Howard's probably one of them people that is like, if he comes back for a second year, he might be a psychopath. So on the court it might work, but it might like mess up team chemistry. So who knows?
I don't know if they had his bird rights or not. Whether they could afford to go over to cap and dip into the luxury tax. So like that's why they might have brought new people in. I don't know.
I think Dwight originally thought he was coming back, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, all right, well I guess y'all don't want me, and he ended up going to the Sixers.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, they gotta figure something out. I would probably say try to get healthy.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Like, hey, Anthony, like, and that's crazy
Anthony
about
Davis,
this. Is like,
can you not be a glass, like made of glass, please, sir?
Like, he was hurt all
Thank
year.
you.
Like, even when he was playing at the beginning of the season, he wasn't himself. So it's like whatever happened, like he has himself some months to get over that shit, and LeBron will be fine. That was an ankle. That's not something that's going to hinder him long term. It's not like it was an Achilles or a hamstring thing or whatever else. So they'll be back. Like, LeBron will be 37, but he's still LeBron. And like, so the only thing that's going to happen to him is like maybe he tears something in his core again. But you know, that freakish stuff is like freakish stuff. Yeah. So I think they'll compete next year. I think they'll make better moves this offseason than last offseason.
I think they need to invest in some type of youth with those.
Like Kuzma?
I mean, I don't have a problem with Kuzma. It's like, bro, like when you out here in the Bel Air Academy offense, it's like he's taking scraps. So, like, he's not going to get the opportunities he got before.
Oh, no. My point is, like, he's inconsistent. And, I mean, obviously he's a younger player, but, like, it seemed like he had a defined role before everybody started getting hurt, right? Like, he realized he had to hit the offensive glass. He realized he had to become a better defender. He realized that, like, he needs to, like, just put the shit up and, like, try to slash and try to cut back door and stuff or whatever else, right? He became, like, a key, he was, like, one of the better, like, bench guys in the league this year. And then, like, AD and LeBron got hurt and he had to play more, and it was kind of like he was on those older Laker teams, like the original Laker teams he was on, where it's like he's more or less kind of sort of the man, or he's the second man on the team, and then like when they came back, like he never found the balance to get back to that. You know, maybe that's just a weird thing where that happened to him and he has to like recalibrate. Caruso should be the starting point guard for the Lakers unless they get like a Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry type, like let Schroeder walk. Can't rely on him. He'll score 0 points in a fucking playoff game.
Yeah,
and he plays bad defense.
Yeah, you won't get me defending Dennis Schroeder because I can't trust somebody that can't shoot, like, to begin with. So, or like he's not even a threat to get hot. Like he's like he's just kind of hanging out. And I don't know.
Wes Matthews looked good at times. Other times he didn't. KCP, he didn't look nearly as good at times last year as he did this year, but he's always been an inconsistent shooter, so like maybe next year he'll probably shoot fucking 40% for all we know. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not nearly as down on him as I was a couple years ago.
Right. So yeah, that's more or less their team. I mean, I don't know what adjustments they haven't made adjustments around the.
Drummond's probably going to walk. They got to figure out something with Montrez and Gasol because I think both of those guys have 2-year deals. I think Montrez has a player option.
Another thing to point out: have you looked at this year's like free agency class for big men?
No,
it's fucking horrendous. Like Ersan Ilyasova might be the best big man in the potentially hit the market this summer.
Look, he's still in the league,
right?
Yeah. And there's a youth movement going on all over the NBA right now. You can just look at the playoffs. The generations are turning over right in front of your eyes.
Well, I don't know if so much the generation turn is like as far as like LeBron's in year fucking 17, 16?
18.
He's going into 18. Or was it 18? No, this was 18. Holy shit. Yeah. Like he's super old. It's just he's LeBron, so like we don't think of it that way. But he's super fucking old.
Yeah.
Like who else is 36 or older in the league besides him and Chris Paul? I'm sure there's some people. I don't recall it. Because Carmelo's his age.
Yeah.
Is there anybody from like the 02? Is there anybody from the 02 draft still in the league? Because I don't think so.
No, there can't be.
Right.
Unless it's Udonis Haslam.
Oh, that shit don't count.
You know, that man hanging on. That man's a coach. That man damn near a coach. UD is like 40. He's still in the league.
Yeah, that man's out there as a coach / ambassador / we screwed you. We lowballed you on deals and you took home team discounts for us, and we are paying you on the back end. That's exactly what that is with him. Let's see, what draft was Udonis Haslam in?
He was not in a draft, but he was supposed to be in the 2000 draft, but he was undrafted.
The 2000 draft?
I believe so.
No, 2002 draft. He would have been the 02 draft. Yeah, so think about that. How long has Amari Stoudemire been out of the league?
Amari Stoudemire has been out of the league since like
5 years, 6 years. Playing the Big Three and shit. Yao Ming was also in that draft class.
Yao Ming, yeah. 2002, Jay Williams. Mike Dunleavy.
Right. Like, LeBron's like, obviously he came out of high school, whatever, he's 1 year old or younger than that class, but like, Dwayne Wade's nowhere to be found in the league. He's about to leave for how many years now? 3 years? 2 years?
3 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, 2003 NBA draft. Shit, should we just jump to the 2004 NBA draft? Like,
who else is there besides like Dwight?
I think Dwight might be the last man standing. Yeah, like Sean Livingston, long gone. Devin Harris, Luol Deng, long gone.
Long gone.
Okafor, gone.
Been gone.
Iggy's still hanging around.
Yeah, on the end of the bench.
Yeah.
You think he's going to coach?
Smith was in the league last year.
You think he's going to coach?
I think Iggy will coach.
Okay.
Unless one of his Silicon Valley projects takes off.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, Verajao, long gone.
I don't think we've seen Verajao since the 2016 finals.
Al Jefferson, is he still hanging around, or is he gone?
Been gone.
I feel like I should jump to 2005. My God.
Wait, the 2005 draft. Shit, Andrew Bynum was the 2005 draft, wasn't he?
Yes, long gone.
Been
Andrew
gone.
Bogut, long gone.
Yep.
Marvin Williams recently retired.
Stuck around forever.
Darren Williams, long gone.
Oh yeah, that 2017 draft was last time, or 2017 finals last time we saw him. We stunt that bitch out.
Is Raymond Felton still in the league?
Can't be. Hell no.
Hanging on somewhere.
Nah, remember
Charlie Villanueva, been gone.
Been gone.
Sean May, Rashad McCants, the rest of them North Carolina dudes.
Nope.
Gone before, like this decade.
Sean May is
Danny Granger.
Sean May is the assistant coach for UNC now.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we should probably talk about that whole situation, but at Duke.
Oh, Coach K, that's right. Yeah, Coach K is hanging it up after 5 million after like 5 million years at Duke. I don't mean to sound bad, but like Coach K been there for a long time. Coach K took over the early mid 80s?
Bro, he took over in like 81. 80.
Right.
Yeah. Like built the program damn near like
okay, so they had some success, but I'm trying to think of a program to be so. It's kind of similar to like if we get to like 20 years from now with Clemson and Dabo, where it's like, yeah, they won some conferences, and yeah, like in the 80s they won a national championship at Clemson, whatever else, but like that shit is totally different from what this program is now because we have this guy here, and he may not have built our name originally, but like from here on out, you're going to remember this coach in this program. Like we may like it's him. Like Coach K is the guy there, and and there's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Put a lot of dudes in the league. One of the best in-game strategists ever, coming in and out of timeouts in college basketball. A person that I think best exemplifies the idea of what you want out of a coach for kids becoming men, as if they will you will push them further than they think they can go, become the best players they could possibly be on the court, and then when outside of the court, he is caring and wants you to become the best person you can be and the best adult you can be, which is something that I've always liked about and respected about Coach K, even though I hate Duke's guts. But it was never any ill will towards K because he built a great program. Obviously, you have the jokes about, and you could do the same thing with Roy after a certain point with UNC, where it's like you are seemingly selecting these stable situations as opposed to going after top talent. The top talent is what's going to break through and get you future recruits. What are you doing? Coach K eventually said, enough of this shit. I'm tired. I'm just going to go out there and get Jahlil Okafor. I'm tired of this shit. I'm just tired.
This whole last decade, he spent pretty much undoing the criticism of the previous decade.
I would say, yeah.
From Zion to Tatum to Marvin Bagley to Tyus Jones, Jahlil Okafor, who's there now? James Johnson.
I would say that the criticism is only a criticism if you're losing, or if you're not winning a national championship every 3 years, which is kind of standard that K set for himself in the 90s. But I remember that night. I remember that late '90s Duke team, but that team they had McGetty and Trajan Langdon and Elton Brand before. I think was Batty a freshman on that team?
Yes.
Yeah, that team was hella black. That team had hella and hella diverse backgrounds.
That's why I never understood. I became a Duke fan 2000, 2001. All the dudes I was Jay Williams, Shane Battier, Carlos Booth. I'm ain't nothing but niggas. What y'all talking about? And then
it goes back to the 80s, right? So the thing with Carolina and Duke is this, right? If you look around, I think Beaumont explained this, but if you look around at state universities with basketball teams around, whether it's a team like Louisville, Kentucky, Kansas, Indiana, any traditional UCLA, North Carolina has a special relationship with the actual black residents of that state, and I think a lot of that ties back to Dean Smith being the first to integrate the ACC. And so and at that point in time, Duke did some things, whatever else, but it's a school that mostly people, go to from out of state, basically coming down from the Northeast to come down and go out of state there and whatever. So so for black Carolinians, they love them from North Carolina, right? That's how you end up with Jordan and Perkins and and Daughtery and all them dudes from all them country ass dudes from the back roads and coming into the Triangle or coming to Chapel Hill specifically. So when Duke comes around, Duke, Johnny Dawkins obviously, and then you have the run where you have Jay Billis and I'm trying to think who's the other white guy.
Danny Ferry.
Ferry, yep, thinking of Ferry. And then next thing you know, you get Bobby Hurley and Christian Laettner, and then you get the thing that people don't understand about Bobby Hurley and Laettner is you can look at the hair.
They get it out the mud.
Right. You don't understand that like Bobby Hurley's dad was a parole officer. You know what I'm saying? While also coaching at that school in Jersey. You don't understand that Leitner was like was a working class kid. He wasn't some prep school kid, or he went to a prep school, but because that was only because of how good he hooped. It wasn't because he had the money for that. He was on a scholarship. So
look, Christian Leitner came out there and give it to you 30
but you
in your face,
right,
and win.
Right. And the thing you also got to look at is all of those teams in the 80s as a proliferation of like schools getting college basketball powerhouses getting blacker and blacker, whether it's like Carolina was already had that, like we mentioned, like Georgetown coming onto the scene, like Nolan Richardson popping up at Arkansas, like it was all these schools getting blacker, yet Duke is getting whiter, and like they're getting the coldest white boys because at the time like Kentucky was down, which is where they used to go, but they're going to Duke now, and it's like they have the bag, or they don't have the baggage that Kentucky has, like the Adolph Rupp and all the racism. so the people that are 15 to 17, if you're a white boy and you're in America and you one of the coldest basketball players in America, he's like, it used to be the place to go was Kentucky. And then Eddie Sutton fucked it up and is like, oh, I guess I'll be going, where am I looking to go? Duke popped up. What's this? Okay, ACC. We rival with Carolina. Y'all made some Final Fours. Why not? And then it worked. And then, then you get like the Wojs, and like that mid-90s thing wasn't as successful as it was in the early 90s. And then they load in and say, fuck it, Eldon Brand, Maggette, Battier, bring your ass here. And then, like, next thing you know, that kind of cycles down, and then you end up getting, like, the Reddick and Singlers or whatever else. Like, it's always been this fluctuation, or at least last, like, 25 years of fluctuation, where it's, like, he keeps going from stability to these guys getting drafted too high to stability to drafted too high to stability, and now he's at this course where it's like, guys, that's the game. Guys just get drafted high and leave regardless. I can't change this tide. Roy, once a buddy from the center left, got in the transfer portal, a lot of people think that was Roy's final straw, where it's like, I can't do this with people just want to just leave because they don't get the playing time because they aren't ready yet. Like you look, I think of like 2012 team, why, like, that was my last like diehard Carolina team, was like, they had McDonald's All-Americans and guys that stayed for another year, like Harrison Barnes. It could have been a lottery pick. They had a guy like Tyler Zeller, who was on the national championship team in 2009 and was weak and had to become a better player, to where his junior, senior year, he actually became an all-conference type level player. Like, ain't no point for that now. Like, at this point, lottery sniff, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot,
I've always kind of like, I've always said when you're that high, you got to go.
Right.
And I have a special attachment to, all the different Duke guys of my generation, and K led them all. Like, your Jay Williams, Mike Dunleavy, Boozer teams, rolling into JJ Redick, like, who I absolutely adored, and, people that damn near ruined the program, like Paulus and McRoberts and
McBobs.
Yeah. And then like your Nolan Smiths and your 3S's, like, and then that team, all going through juniors and seniors, and K just figuring it out with them, and him, being the coach while USA basketball rescued itself, like, all that stuff, like, he is a testament to the game. Yeah. Like, and
that's the thing that K was smart about, was like, yeah, I'll do Team USA. I'm also tired of getting these like McDonald's All-Americans that's going to be here for 4 years. I was tired of that. And he changed it. Like, I don't know how much this ever gets talked about, but like, the Team USA thing is at least at some extent a reaction to Calipari with getting, John Wall and Boogie Cousins back-to-back years, and then going from there to Julius Randle's, Anthony Davis's and shit, like every single year just reloading. Like, he was like, hey man, I'm tired of this shit. Like, I'm trying to do this, and like he just retools, and he gets a new team every single year, and there's actually stability in it, as opposed to, opposed to thinking like, if you put in the hard work, not necessarily hard work, if you build in the growth that eventually pay off, like, yeah, some cases like that 2017
what it's a lot
team,
like?
but that's like the last team that's like that, really. Like, if you're one of these powerhouses, like, you gotta retool, like, every 2 years should be like your time where like the roster looks completely different. And like, for fans, I understand that's frustrating, but like for a coach that's old school as like Roy and Kay, that had to be where it's like, hey man, what even is this now?
Bro, you know what it's a lot like? It's a lot like 3-point shooting. Like, we figured out that all we got to do is shoot threes. It's like, hold on, all we got to do is recruit superstar freshmen. Oh, okay. Yeah. And then like the light bulb went off. Like, I'm probably going to pay attention to, obviously, Kay's last season, like more than I have paid attention to Duke in quite a while. They didn't even make the tournament this year.
Well, that's okay. So I don't remember the rule. I don't remember the thing. Was it that somebody didn't show up or somebody left, right?
I think somebody left.
Somebody left, and then either y'all had a bad season, or y'all were headed towards a bad season, and y'all basically were like, screw it, we withdraw from all of it, cancel the season. Wasn't that more or less like y'all? Then y'all, I'm pretty sure y'all canceled the season before y'all even finished it out, or something like that.
Yeah, I think that happened. I don't remember, but
fine by me. Like, you think that first weekend for Carolina was fun? Roy said, "Fuck it, I'm never again. I'm gone."
Yeah, but the John Wooden of our time, most wins ever. Happy I got to watch 20 years of Coach K, and I still don't know how to spell his name. Maybe I'll make that my goal for the next 12 months is to know how to spell his name. I guess I should talk about his successor. His successor is going to be John Shire. It's Shire. So Shire's been his associate head coach for like 7 seasons, and highly coveted. He's pretty much been doing all the big recruiting like the last half decade.
How old is Shire? Like 36?
Shire's like my age. He's like 32, 33. He had like a bad eye injury that forced him to retire like early. Well, I believe he went back to Israel to play.
33. How about that?
Yeah, so he's like almost Coach K's age. He's like the age Coach K was when he took over.
And it's funny because we always thought it was going to be like Dogs, and Dogs left.
Yeah, that's a long wait, you know.
It is.
or
you never know what's going to come.
Or Capel or somebody like that.
Yeah, Capel as well. Yeah,
Amaker or something like that. But I think Shire's a good choice. Beloved as a player, a fighter, a warrior, like on the court, and been in the role like doing the recruiting for like the last half decade. Like I said, like your Jason Tatum's, your RJ Barrett's, like the guys that was run the point on that was Shire, getting them there. So I don't have I'm not worried about the recruiting or anything. So I think it's good to go, get as young as possible. Try to avoid that Matt Doherty situation. Like, if you can avoid that, like get somebody that's like kind of connected still. I like it. Then, he's going to have a year transition period to kind of learn on the job. And, Coach K is going to get his flowers from everywhere, a proper retirement season. I wonder why Roy didn't do that.
I think Roy was fed up. I think Roy just didn't want to do it again anymore. And he was like, I'm just going home. And Roy was always that type that was like, that dude's not built for a retirement tour, because what you going to do? You want to cry 3 times every single game, every single road game. He's like, you know how many times he would cry in Cameron for him not getting booed for the first time? Like, nah, Roy's not built for retirement tour. Like that been too emotional. It been too draining on him to do all that. So like that's probably for the best. He just said, I'm done. We have a successor. Like this has been the plan for years now. It's now Hubert's time, and you can go on the press conference talk about your white wife. So,
boy,
yeah.
I have one request for Coach K. I know it will never happen, but I have one request.
I know you're about to say it's not going to happen. No. No.
For the last season,
No.
you got to stop dyeing the hair.
No.
Don't dye the hair.
You want that man coming out, the silver fox looking like Roy? Come on, man. We know what it is. Let K have that. Let K have that.
Look, it's either that or he has to show up jet black. Don't fuck around with it halfway.
No. He shows up with the beard, and the beard is also black.
Oh my god.
I ain't never seen Coach K with no facial hair ever.
You know why? That man's an army man.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man, that's funny. It is weird that like they just retired like within a year of each other. They're just gone. Like AC's totally unrecognizable. Like, and Boeheim is like the senior legend in the ACC now.
That don't even feel right. That don't even feel right.
It still don't even feel right that they're in the ACC.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to dive back into. I just started subscribing to some college basketball podcasts if I can stand it and like
watch the game.
Can like that and like handle the freshman turnover and it's funny. It's like there will be. I think college basketball is going to kind of go a little bit like it was in the older days. However, the teams like your Gonzagas, they're going to have like juniors and seniors and shit, but they're actually getting other people now. So like Gonzaga has a great roster,
right? So we were talking about that. Like, what's making people just pull up to Provo now? And like we were just talking about, it's like if you are the coldest white boy, the coldest white boys in the nation, you used to go to Kentucky, then you went to Duke. Now, for a while, you had Morrison happen, you had Gonzaga, like, but now everybody's pulling up to Provo. Everybody. Mm-hmm. It's like, what the fuck is that dude in the middle of nowhere, Washington?
Listen to Wrestling Observer Live. Oh. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. He's a great coach. Obviously a Hall of Famer over and over. I'll miss him and hope he hope he finds happiness in his retirement.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach K. That's in the show, y'all. Just heads up, we will be doing a midweek show for One Nation Radio. We'll be previewing NXT Takeover in Your House 2021, and we will be previewing the Stardom pay-per-view on...
Have you watched that NXT show last week yet?
I am behind on all American wrestling.
Okay. So, I won't blow anything yet, but I saw that card for Takeover on paper, and it looks rough.
Yeah. We'll get to it. So, yeah, we'll get back to y'all, like, middle of the week. So, but, yeah, thanks for listening. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to us with. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex and pick up some official Social Suplex Podcast Network merchandise. The newest shirt is O's on top. Get into it. Also go to our Red Circle page and drop us a donation. And listen to the other shows on the network. One Nation Radio, Keepin It Strong Style, Grumman Watch This Shit, the Ricky Clive Wrestling Podcast, 8-Bit Suplex, the Grave Consequence Podcast, All Things Elite, and Great Match Generator. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and Thomas Hearns. Legends, whose four-way rivalry defined one of the greatest eras in boxing history. Relive their decade of dominance in a new Showtime sports documentary, The Kings, a 4-part series now streaming on Showtime.